Hello and welcome to another episode of Critiquing the Critics. Today we are re-reviewing The Angry Video Game Nerd. And since we already used his opening theme song in my last review, today we can finally use my opening theme song again. Yay!
He's gonna take you back to the past.
Aww.
To play the shitty games that suck ass. He'd rather have a buffalo take a diarrhea dump in his ear. He'd rather eat the rotten asshole of a roadkill skunk and down it with beer. He's the angriest gamer you've ever heard. He's the angry Nintendo nerd. He's the angry Atari Sega nerd. He's the angry video game nerd.
It is common knowledge now that I am re-reviewing most of my older reviews. And no reviewer needs a re-review more than The Angry Video Game Nerd. My review of him sucks, and is likely my worst review. It's unfunny, loud, and also really crappily edited. But it also represents one of the themes in this review. Times change, people change, and trends change. And my old review is just obsolete because my opinions have changed somewhat since then. Now, before any of you guys start tensing up, don't misunderstand this video. I am not retracting my fan status of The Angry Video Game Nerd. I still find his works to be pretty entertaining. It's just a lot more complicated than it was before. Before, The Angry Video Game Nerd was universally lauded as arguably the best video reviewer out there. These days, he still has just as many fans, but he also has a lot more detractors. More controversies on his credibility, and the quality of his reviews have arisen. Nothing objective there. I'm not saying that because people don't like the nerd as much as they used to, that automatically means he sucks, but I think it's something that really should be considered and explored. So, what do I think? In my eyes, The Angry Video Game Nerd has become more like an imitation of The Angry Video Game Nerd. But at least he is the best of his imitations, because let's face it, nobody can do The Angry Video Game Nerd like The Angry Video Game Nerd. The big question, though, is whether the nerd really cares about The Angry Video Game Nerd show. Is he just doing it for income? Does he still have a passion for it? And we will discuss all of this later. For now, let's bring up the reviewer Triforce and review The Angry Video Game Nerd. Actually, my reviewing Triforce is pretty useless here because AVGN switches his priorities quite often. Sometimes he's more interested in discussing and reviewing. Sometimes he wants to make us laugh. Other times he just wants to blow shit up. So let's just begin with the reviewer himself. If it needs to be pointed out, James Rolfe is playing a persona. The gimmick is that he is every lifeless, angry, bitter loser video game nerd in the form of a single person. Something that I find funny is that this makes him arguably a parody of everyone who would go on to imitate him before everybody actually started imitating him. The intent is to make us laugh with the concept, and honestly, I have no idea why the nerd works so well. I mean, why do I like the nerd but not Retro Gamer 3? It's not that his jokes are any classier. Generally, his humor is just saying fucking shit a lot, and his use of expletives aren't witty or unique. Saying shit and fuck nonstop is not a solution to the equation of how to make people laugh. Or is it? Shit. Fuck. Was that hilarious? Because if it was, I am totally changing the style of the show. I've thought about this a lot and have decided that it's Rolfe's conviction in what he's saying that makes it work. Rolfe's a rather limited actor, but he does well within those limitations. He only has a few facial expressions, for example, but he rarely needs to go beyond those few expressions. He also has perfect control of his voice. It sounds like he's recording the audio while playing the game, even though he's obviously not. He also seems to have some timing, which means that he can convert angry to funny. The jokes might be lowbrow, but Rolfe conveys the right attitude for them. This also helps with the actual critiquing. The nerd seems to be genuinely interested in what he's saying, which makes me interested in what he's saying. Very few reviewers feel natural when they're discussing a game in a scripted review, but Rolfe usually does. But we will finish up the critiquing and the humor in the next episode. but everything I've discussed is the angry video game nerd at his best. I do feel that he's cheapened his style somewhat, and I will go more into that later. My name is Marshall Harrer, and I'm here to tell you that those who cannot do, critique.